Navigating a second Trump presidency's global economic influence. What would a second term for Donald Trump have meant for the global economy? As President of the United States, any leader's policies can ripple across borders, affecting industries, trade dynamics, and international cooperation. In a rapidly changing world, understanding the potential impact of a continued Trump administration on the global economic landscape becomes crucial, as it determines how countries might align their economic strategies in response. Let's delve into each aspect, from trade and taxation to international relations and immigration, to explore their broader implications. Trade policies, shaping the global economic terrain. How do a president's trade policies influence international commerce? Under Trump's America First doctrine, there was a clear emphasis on revisiting existing trade agreements and implementing tariffs. This strategy was not merely a matter of economics, but also a statement of self-reliance aimed at rejuvenating local manufacturing and reducing trade deficits. For instance, high tariffs on Chinese electronics sought to curb the U.S.'s dependency on imports. However, these actions often led to retaliations, such as when China imposed its tariffs on American agricultural products, hitting U.S. farmers hard. The global supply chain, inherently interconnected, experienced disruptions as companies reevaluated their sourcing and production strategies to sidestep tariffs, often looking to other regions for manufacturing opportunities. This reconfiguration, while initially challenging, eventually led some businesses to discover more diverse and sometimes cost-effective supply chains. How did Trump's trade policies affect specific industries globally? Agriculture, a landscape of shifts and strategies. Soybeans and corn. How did tariffs imposed by China alter the agricultural landscape? As a major importer of U.S. soybeans, China's retaliatory tariffs significantly decreased American exports. Farmers, faced with unsold stock, turned to alternative markets such as Europe and Southeast Asia, although these markets were unable to fully absorb the surplus. To mitigate losses, U.S. farmers had to adapt by diversifying crops or reducing production, a costly adjustment with mixed success. Dairy and meat. What was the impact of retaliatory tariffs on the dairy and meat industries? Countries like Mexico and Canada imposed their own tariffs on U.S. dairy and meat products, which significantly strained these sectors. The increased costs harmed the competitiveness of American products abroad, leading to decreased sales and revenue. Some U.S. producers sought to enter burgeoning markets, such as China's growing middle class, to recoup some losses, but this strategic pivot required time and investment that not all farmers could afford. Manufacturing, navigating cost increases and supply challenges. Automobiles. How did tariffs on steel and aluminum affect car manufacturing? Imposed tariffs increased the raw material costs for car manufacturers globally, since these metals are foundational to vehicle production. Manufacturers were forced to pass increased costs onto consumers, leading to higher vehicle prices. Some companies, like Ford and General Motors, reconsidered their sourcing strategies, investing in more local supply chains or developing new cost-saving technologies to minimize their financial hit. Electronics. How did the electronics industry react to comprehensive tariffs? Many electronic products depend on components manufactured in China. The tariffs raised operational costs, prompting companies like Apple and Dell to rethink their global manufacturing footprints. This reconsideration often meant investing in new manufacturing hubs such as India or Southeast Asia, regions offering lowered production costs and tariffs, albeit with significant transition challenges. Technology. Emerging challenges in a regulated marketplace. Semiconductors. How did trade restrictions impact semiconductor companies? Large-scale producers often source materials from or sell to Chinese markets. With increased tariffs and restrictiveness on technology transfers, companies like Intel face disruptions, requiring them to explore alternative markets and secure diversified supply chains to protect against geopolitical risks. 5G and telecom. How did bans on companies like Huawei impact the tech industry? Bans restricted Chinese tech giants from participating fully in the global 5G rollout, influencing the timelines and partnerships in telecommunications. European and Asian nations turned to alternative suppliers, which could delay technological advancement due to longer development times and integration challenges. Retail, adjusting to higher costs and sourcing dilemmas. Consumer goods. How did tariffs influence consumer pricing strategies globally? Retailers who relied on Chinese imports found themselves confronting increased product costs. This led to difficult choices: absorb the costs, pass them on to consumers through higher retail prices, or diversify sourcing strategies. Many began sourcing from non-tariff countries or renegotiating supply contracts to maintain profitability without alienating consumers over price hikes. Energy, the tangled web of global oil and gas markets. Oil and gas. How did trade tensions influence energy market stability? Companies faced volatile oil prices due to geopolitical tensions and sanctions on nations like Iran. U.S. policies significantly impacted the global energy landscape, causing some countries to seek alternative partnerships or invest in renewable energy to decrease reliance on unpredictable fossil fuel markets. Steel and aluminum, protectionism and its global ripples. Domestic boost, global disruption. What were the broader effects of protective tariffs on steel and aluminum? While these tariffs aimed to protect struggling U.S. industries, they resulted in international trade tensions and increased production costs in sectors dependent on these materials. Countries dependent on steel exports to the U.S. reevaluated their market strategies, shifting focus to growing domestic industries to accommodate oversupplies. Tax and regulatory policies. The ripple effect of deregulation. How do tax cuts and deregulation extend their influence beyond national borders? Trump's administration pushed for extensive tax cuts intended to revitalize domestic investment, particularly benefiting large corporations. The corporate tax rate was slashed from 35% to 21%, theoretically freeing companies to expand operations, hire more employees, and increase wages. A prominent example is the tech giant Apple, which announced its intention to bring back billions of dollars held overseas following tax reductions, promising to invest in U.S. infrastructure. The implications of these policies span globally, as multinational entities reevaluated their profit allocations to benefit from the favorable fiscal environment in the United States. However, this might spur other countries to adjust their tax rates to remain competitive, creating a cascade of economic policy shifts across the globe. Geopolitical tensions, the unpredictable dynamics of global power plays. In what ways could geopolitical tensions impact global economies? During Trump's tenure, there was a marked increase in diplomatic strains with key players like China, Russia, and Iran. These tensions didn't exist in isolation. They significantly influenced global markets, oil prices, and investor mentalities. For instance, the trade disputes with China were not just economic standoffs. They represented a strategic rivalry threatening established trade norms. Heightened tensions with Iran, particularly the imposition of sanctions, escalated fears of disruptions in oil supplies, sending ripples through the energy markets. The resulting market volatility underscored the intricate web of international economic dependencies and how political uncertainty can shake financial stability worldwide. Climate policy, setting the agenda for environmental engagement. What does a shift in climate policy mean for global environmental efforts? Trump's decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord marked a significant departure from collaborative environmental action. This move wasn't just symbolic. It altered the global stance on climate change mitigation. While the U.S. stepped back, other nations like the European Union doubled down on their commitments to renewable energy and technological development in green industries. Countries like China seized the opportunity to position themselves as leaders in solar and wind energy production, making substantial investments in clean technologies. These efforts highlighted a global pivot towards sustainable energy solutions, with economic opportunities emerging for those willing to lead. Immigration policies, redefining labor dynamics across borders. How can stricter immigration policies reshape labor markets? Under Trump's administration, tighter immigration controls led to significant shifts in the labor force composition, particularly affecting industries dependent on immigrant labor. The agricultural sector, for example, heavily reliant on seasonal immigrant workers for harvesting, faced labor shortages, leading to increased production costs and potential impacts on food prices. At the same time, countries like Canada actively promoted their openness to skilled immigrants, boosting their tech and research sectors with talent that might otherwise have headed to the U.S. This shifting landscape of talent mobility affects global growth patterns and alters the competitive edge of nations in key industries. International relations, the flux of alliances and economic partnerships. How do changes in international relations affect global economies? Trump's foreign policy, characterized by its unpredictability, played a significant role in transforming alliances and economic partnerships. The U.S.'s relations with NATO, for example, came under scrutiny as Trump publicly criticized member countries over defense spending. Such dynamics led nations to reconsider their strategic alliances, potentially seeking new partnerships or strengthening existing ones to counterbalance ebbs and flows in American diplomatic engagement. These shifts are not just political. They affect global trade routes, investment decisions, and cooperative economic projects, leading to a recalibration of the global economic framework. Conclusion: a precarious balance of challenges and opportunities. In summation, the potential for continued Trump policies offers both hurdles and openings for the global economic environment. Trade strategies, regulatory shifts, geopolitical tensions, and shifts in international relations during Trump's tenure presented a tapestry of complex interactions. These dynamics emphasize the necessity for countries and corporations to stay agile, adaptable, and forward-thinking. As global forces evolve, those who strategically navigate these varying landscapes will likely emerge more robust, innovative, and competitively positioned in the global marketplace. Through resilience and strategic foresight, opportunities abound even amidst challenges, laying the foundation for future growth and cooperation on the global stage.